Avita. Beats.
Monk.
What is good? What is going on? And what is cracking? I am Philly Foothills, and I am back in another episode of East Meets West. Trying to get shit off your chest when it comes to our Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Hope this live stream catches you happy, safe, and well, and able to watch it in a peaceful setting. Like I said, we're rocking another East Meets West with my guys here, AK Eagles of the Eagles Uncensored podcast. To my left and down below me, Vic 3. We are live on not only my channel, the Nest Out West, but we are live on all three of our YouTube channels. So you guys make sure that you please go to each channel and hit that thumbs up. We really appreciate it. It'll help push that content out there more and more. So what's going on, guys? Fuego, got the music. What's good, fellas?
What's good?
How we feeling tonight? How we feeling?
Vibing right now with that music.
BLSG is always in the building. He's one of the first ones always in here. What's going on, youngster? Appreciate you checking in. Yes, definitely. Rest in peace to Mr. John Madden. Very iconic football. I mean, the commissioner doesn't say a lot of things that I agree with, but he said that John Madden was football, and that's true. You know, he absolutely was through and through. He's going to be missed dearly, and we're gonna touch on that some more in a little bit here. But I want to give a shout out to everybody that's in the live stream right now. Definitely, yes, absolutely. SG always #Fly Eagles Fly. Nightings is in the building as well. I'm here again. Thank you, Nightings.
What's up, dude?
Young guy right there. Good, Nightings.
Jinx Wolf's in the building as well. What's going on, Jinx?
That's the lady killer.
Appreciate you. Yeah, Nightings says I'm here too. Make that 3 for 3. Absolutely appreciate you. Prime Time's in the building as well.
Oh,
What's going on? Good choice. We've been graced with the presence. I'm not doing good. I got the 19. Oh shit! Take care,
he's a
Jinx.
beast, my guy.
Right?
Hey man, get that vitamin C up.
Yeah, I know. AK's fighting the flu bug that he got from his son. I know Birdman _951's ill right now as well. So thoughts and prayers to all you guys. Definitely get better soon.
Yeah, man, I was lucky. I just had a stuffy nose because my daughter gave it to me. It went around the house, but nothing too serious. It's like a one and a half day bug.
Nina Olsen's in the building as well. What's going on, Nina?
It was good, Nina.
How you doing, Nina? Appreciate you.
We got a spam from Logan Cooper. We're gonna spam it, make it make sense. At least so we can read it. If you're gonna spam us, come on now. I don't know what the hell that even means. Yeah, definitely. Get better soon, Jinx. Get better soon. Jay
Yes.
Boog's in the building as well. What's going on, Jay Boogie?
What's
Hey,
up,
my
Jerry?
guy right there. What's good?
Appreciate you. Got another spammer in here as well. Yeah, let me block those real quick.
Hey, you know you made it when you got the spam.
Jinx said thank you, Nina. Yep, Papa Sora's in the building. What's going on, Papa?
Papa, Florida. It's been rough down there. Ooh,
Right?
the team has been in some turmoil.
Yeah, it has. Is the tree still up, Vic? The tree.
Yeah. Hey, the tree's doing good. Hold on, let me give you a quickie.
Quick update.
Oh, see, you
Oh,
got
that's
the
beautiful.
There you
got it
go.
tied up too, just in case.
There you go.
That looks nice. She said fire. Yes, sir. Yeah, so no, wanted to talk to you guys about, kind of take a little trip down Madden memory lane. And for me, I was really kind of going into, reaching back into my memory today. And now that I was thinking about it, I think Madden really, like, playing the first one that I ever played on Sega really made me fall in love with the game of football. It made me understand it more. I got to understand, like, what it meant to run a curl route, what it meant to run, cover two defense, things like that. So it really it brought out the inner football fan in me, definitely. And I obviously, the iconic picture of him, the of him being lifted on his shoulders by the Raiders after they won the Super Bowl. That's one of the first things that sticks out in my memory. Going way back, they always used to show that. But yeah, I wanted to hear from you guys on this as well. Vic 3, what do you think?
Yeah, man. Former Eagle John Madden. You got to look at him at that first. When he came into football and professional level, he came in as a Philadelphia Eagle. So you got to respect to the guy that came before everyone else. Left tackle, if I'm not mistaken. Then he got into
77.
coaching and yeah, number 77. Then he got into coaching and you've seen what he did from there. But if you're a child from the 80s or the 90s, for the most part, you learn football just like you said from Madden. A lot of people
Right.
were introduced to the game of football through Madden. A lot of kids, they watched the old back in the 70s and 60s. When it first came out, TV was a big thing. But then now, for us, the children of the 80s, the entertainment, on the aspect playing video games, that was the big thing for us. And Madden was the perfect tool. After we had games like Techno Bowl, I don't know if you remember that one. I was taking it back, but we had those old school games where if you had Bo Jackson, it was a wrap. You couldn't do anything. But Madden was different because it was balanced on every level. Now people complain about it for what it is, but it's a game that everybody knows. When you say the name Madden, you're thinking of that game first. A lot of people for the younger generation, that's what they think of. But for us, we know the coach, we know about the player, we know about the success he had, his relationship with the Raiders owner. Yeah, John Madden was very influential, and not only that, while all that was happening, he was the best broadcaster that there was. Like he was doing things that no one ever did, especially with the teleprompter. A lot of people don't even know that because you don't really see people mess with it. But now, when you look at ESPN and you see those guys always touching on the TV, that all started with Madden. And let's talk about Thanksgiving because Madden owned Thanksgiving. It wasn't a Thanksgiving without that turkey with 13 legs. We don't even know how they put them together, but somehow they had a weird turkey. Madden always had his guys. And everybody knows about the All Madden team. That came through him. When you think about an All Pro team, for a lot of most part, that came because of Madden. It was the All Madden team, and then the NFL kind of adopted that and came about with the All Pro team. So there's a lot of things that Madden did to influence the game after he was a coach. A lot he did as a broadcaster. But if you heard the guy and you would hear him on TV, he had a personality that you would only gravitate towards. You always wanted to hear a Madden story, no matter what. And the thing was, he was very intelligent because he was one of the first guys that would break down the play before it even happened. A lot of people credit Tony Romo for the things he does, but Madden was doing that the whole time before him. So yeah, John Madden was very influential on so many levels. And it's a great loss. He lived a long life. Hopefully he could have had more. Everyone wishes that he could have had more. But I hope in his last days he was very peaceful. We really didn't see him that much. He wasn't in the spotlight as much after he left Monday Night Football. And I hope that he had a peaceful life. And, had a great time. After working for so long because he deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, in a total of, let's see, 142 games he coached, right? He had a 76.3 winning percentage. He only lost 32 games. He tied 7. They must have had a lot of ties back in the day. But, I mean, he's got the highest winning percentage of any coach who has coached more than 100 games in the NFL. So, the numbers don't lie. It's pretty amazing. I was kind of surprised. I didn't even think he coached for that long. I thought it was shorter than 10 years, but I guess it was 10 years. They were talking about it a lot today on ESPN radio and things like that. But AK, let's hear from you, my dude.
Yeah, man. No, listen, Madden really, I only know him for two things: the video games, obviously, and him being a commentator. He was not a coach. I was born in '88, so I know him from the press box. I really must say I grew up listening to him commentate a lot of football games, call them, and he was truly awesome to listen to. He definitely had a way of talking, and people listened when he talked, but not just that, he brought football into our homes with Madden football, my childhood and even my manhood today involves Madden. I'm 33 and I still play. He impacted us in so many ways that it's unreal. He is the man, the myth, the legend, and trust me, without him, there isn't football. So,
Right.
Yeah, man.
And so many little cool things along the way that he brought to us. Like Jay Boog said, he introduced the turduckens to the NFL. What is it?
Turducken is a chicken, a duck, and a turkey all in one. Deboned and put
all
into
inside
one.
of each other, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no one even heard about that before until Madden. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, just a little. I mean that, and the sound effects that he used to make. Like boom, whack, pow.
And I was going to say,
go ahead, Vic.
The iconic voice, like you hear that, like Frank Caliendo. I don't know if anyone knows about him, but like he's the only person I know that can imitate that voice. But like that's an iconic voice. You hear that voice, no matter how old you are, you know who it is.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember a lot of the commercials he did. Like the tough, the Tinactin commercials, the tough acting Tinactin. So he was all over the place, things like that. You could tell he was a guy with a lot of joy for, a lot of joy for life. He just had a kind of an aura about him. And I know a lot of people say certain things about that after people are passed, but he really did. He was he was an icon of the game and an absolute legend, in many ways, because he was, I mean, you could easily say he's a Hall of Famer in three different categories, right? A coach, a commentator, and a video game producer, or whatever you want to call it. So the guy was very, very successful at what he did in his endeavors in life.
Definitely. If there's ever an award, I don't know what's the current name of the Head Coach of the Year award, but that should automatically be the John Madden award. And if anything for a lifetime achievement award, especially should be called the John Madden award, because in many phases of the game he succeeded. Like we said, he was a player, then he was a coach, he was a commentator, and he put his talents to creating one of the most famous games ever. So he touched so many genres, it's not even funny.
Right. Yeah, he really did. Very impactful person. Very impactful person in many ways, So yeah, he's definitely going to be missed by a lot of people because, from what I'm hearing that, he wasn't sick or anything like that. They haven't said a cause of death or anything like that, but more than likely with a sudden death like that, it was probably more than likely a heart attack or a stroke, one of the two. I mean, that would be my guess. But it was it's always hard when you. Sorry, guys. It's always hard when you go through a death that's unexpected. And I went through that personally. I lost my dad. It's going to be 20 years, actually, on the 15th of January. 20 years since I lost my dad unexpectedly at the age of 51 years old. He had just turned 51. and way too young. He was gone too soon. But it's hard to deal with deaths at all. But when they're out of nowhere, when they blindside you, it's that much tougher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to say this first and foremost before I throw this question out there. I mean, I want everyone to know that I have the utmost respect for John Madden and everything like that. Not trying to tarnish his name in any way, but I want to ask you guys, and I want to ask the chat: do you guys think that John Madden would succeed today in the NFL as a head coach? And I want to hear from Vic first.
Yeah, when you asked me that, I thought it was a great question. And I really thought about that because, John Madden, a lot of people that, especially us, like right now, we talked about him being the player. We did speak about the coach and we talked about his broadcasting and what he did, for the video game. But we really didn't get into his coaching. And you mentioned something before, one of the most winning coach. He had a great winning percentage. That was because of the offense he brought, how he changed the game offensively. His quarterback is something kind of like how we have now. We have a Tom Brady who's, I believe, 42, 43 years old. I think Jake Plummer, excuse me, not Jake Plummer. What was it? Jake the Snake. What was his last name? The original Jake the Snake out of Alabama.
I'm drawing a
Someone in the
blank.
chat can help me. He was the original Snake. He was out of Alabama. He was his quarterback. I think he was like 45 years old. And he's the one who won in that Super Bowl. Like John Madden worked with so little, and he brought that black hole, that attitude that the Raiders have. A lot of it had to do with Al Davis, but John Madden is the man that made it manifest on that field. Like that, he's credited for a lot of the offense, but his defense was fierce. It wasn't something like how you see now, how he just basically let the defensive coordinator do everything. No, John Madden was involved on that side of the ball too. It's kind of like, think of Bill Belichick, but on the offensive mind. That's the way Madden was during his time. Like, he was revolutionary, especially with the passing game, because when you think about it, like I said, that team, all Hall of Famers. When you look at those Madden teams, they're kind of looked at the same way as the Steelers because they had great battles against the Steelers then. And those teams are one of the most teams that just within the year have many Hall of Famers, and that's all due to Madden. You know what I mean? Like, of course, they had good scouting, but again, we're talking about a time where you're picking someone in the 17th round. How good talent's going to come out in the 17th round? A lot of that has to come out through your coaching. And that's, a credit that to John Madden, a credit that to the team he put together. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Madden was one of the first coaches to put multiracial coaches on his team. No one was doing that at the time. That all started with Madden. There's a lot of things that are overlooked. So when you ask, could he work in today's game? I think John, especially if he was younger, I think John Madden would be one of those Sean McVays. He would be one of those John Grudens. One of those young masterminds to come through, have everything together, because we've seen how organized he was and put together a Super Bowl team. I think he would succeed very well in the NFL today.
I never knew that he was the first one, or one of the first ones to have a multiracial coaching staff. And hell, he probably did open Al Davis's eyes, because Al Davis was the first owner to hire a black head coach in Art Shell. So, gosh, that's another new one to me, and that's just another amazing thing that he accomplished along the way. So, AK,
I want to say it was Tom Flores, but I can't remember. I know his last name was Flores. Tom Flores. He ended up becoming the coach of the team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tom Flores. Yep. Yeah. AK, what do you say?
Yeah. Like I told you, I never really got to experience him as a coach. He was done by my time. But, the one thing I must say is hearing him as an announcer and call football games, you could tell the man was very smart. He was very football smart. And I don't believe there isn't any time era the man could not coach in. He knew football that well. He was This, some people are born to do certain things. This was John Madden's thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it truly matters anytime ever. He'd figure it out. He'd figure out what works, and he'd do it. So
Yeah. I tend to agree with you, because he's an historian of the game. You could tell by the way he broke things down that he was very, very smart at, just being able to dissect certain things, on defenses, what or offensive play schemes, things like that. So, yeah, even though the NFL has definitely changed a lot since he was a head coach, I think that he would be able to adapt. He would be able to find a way to continue his success. I really do, because he would just flip the narrative. It'd be like, okay, it's a passing league now. All right, well, I'm just going to load up on. I'm going to get a quarterback. Make sure I got a quarterback. Get a bunch of receivers, a tight end, and go to work. So I definitely think he would. I don't doubt him at all. I really don't. I don't think there's probably many people that would. Really be. Maybe it's too soon to be asking that question to get a real, full, honest answer from people. But like I said, I didn't mean it with any disrespect. I was just trying to throw a good question out there and see what people thought. Because I know
it's no
like I said,
question. Man.
Yeah, I didn't think it was either. And I just know that the NFL has changed, like I said, quite a bit since he was a head coach. So I just wanted to see what people thought.
Listen, a coach like Tom Landry, he ain't working today. That kind of coaching style, he isn't. Now, like you're saying, like, I don't feel he's disrespectful anyway. But like how you're saying, if we're talking about like a coach like Bum Phillips, I don't know if you know who Bum Phillips is. He's Wade Phillips' father. He used to coach Houston, the original Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Houston Oilers, excuse me. He was a great coach. He was one of the guys who originated that player's coach. Very fun, very personal with his team. He loved his team, and they played hard for that team. Coaches like that, they're generational. Any era of the game, they can come in and they can play because they can bring men together. John Madden was one of those guys. His players loved it. Generational player. Any era, I think he would be good in.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's funny that a lot of people. No, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but some people made fun of him because he had he definitely wasn't shy about sharing his love for certain players like Brett Favre. So that was always fun. Over the years to see the and he knew about it too, and he was the type of guy that had a really good sense of humor and never let anything like that get to him. And he was just he's an irreplaceable, like you said, he's an iconic voice. He's there's never going to be another John Madden, and yeah, he's a legend, man. What else could I say?
Yeah, like a lot of people don't know it because they're not of that age. They don't remember this time. But I remember when John Madden started off with CBS. He was kind of like one of those kooky commentators they would have at 4:00. They wouldn't have him on the primetime game.
Yeah.
And then a little company by the name of Fox started off, and they needed some commentators. And they reached out, and they ended up getting John Madden and a fellow player by the name of Pat Summerall. And that team right there created what is Fox Sports. What today is Fox Sports was created off those two men, the backs of those two men, just them commentating. Do you understand how many times, like, not just me, it literally was America couldn't wait for Sunday, 4:15, Niners, Cowboys. Now, mind you, we're Eagles fans, but we know what's at stake because it's an NFC championship. We know John Madden's calling the game. You know how entertaining that is. Listen, You're getting the wings ready. You're getting the pizza ready. You know what I'm saying? This is back in the 90s when, it was cool. You call people over. The Corona wasn't around. You know what I mean? You're sharing. People double dipping. But yeah, like there was a different time. Like John Madden, he was that primetime game, that what you call, America's game, that special primetime game. That was all because of John Madden. And then to think about it, once his career was at its highlight with Fox, NBC ended up getting Sunday Night Football, and they needed to do something. And who did they reach out to? John Madden. They paired him up with Al Michaels. That team was legendary. John Madden didn't just broadcast. John Madden brought up broadcast companies. Again,
Right.
the name of Fox wasn't really a known name. It was known for like Married with Children at the time, Cops. That's pretty much it. But once they got into sports, especially football, all that changed. He literally changed that whole company and made it what it is today, just off of his voice, just off of him talking about football, just him giving his knowledge, doing what he loved most. And one funny thing about it is he never flew. Every game he went to, he was in a bus. That was one thing, he was adamant about. He wasn't about flying. He was about taking that bus. And if you're fortunate enough to see that bus, listen, it was awesome. You seen him on it, saying the whole thing, the whole spiel. He get out, the guy was personal enough to talk to people. If he's going out to eat, people get autographs. From what they're saying, he never cared. He gave as many autographs as he could. Whenever everybody got theirs, and he went about his business. He was a very kind man.
Yeah. Do you guys know how the whole bus thing started?
No.
I know you said he didn't like to fly, but I think when he first started doing commentating and needed to travel around the country a lot, he initially he got a hold of Dolly Parton, or he got a hold of her people, and he rented her tour bus for a week or two, and he fell in love with it. So he got his own tricked out RV, and that's how the whole Madden tour bus thing was started.
Well, is this Dolly Parton like right after the 80s? Dolly. She was good for a minute.
9 to 5 Dolly, right?
Hey, even up to 90s. 90s Dolly was still hitting. She was still stacked.
Oh, yeah.
How John know Dolly? That's what I want to know. How did John know Dolly?
Right. He probably knew somebody that knew somebody that knew her. See how it goes.
He's Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, kind of, we're gonna transition here, and we're gonna do a little. I want to talk to you guys about MVP candidates and who you guys think should be at the top of the list. AK, who do you think should be, in the conversation of MVP this year?
Jonathan Taylor.
They don't usually give it to.
I love
They don't
that
usually
one.
give it to running backs, so that's definitely going to be. That's going to be surprising if they do it. I mean, not saying that he's not deserving of it, because he's been ripping up this league this year and pretty much carrying that offense on his back. Ooh, a non-quarterback. Okay, I like it.
I didn't hear that one. I didn't hear it.
He said Cooper Kupp.
It's a wide receiver. Hey,
Right?
that's a good pull though. Cooper's been doing his thing this year.
Yeah,
Dude, he's got like 1,600 yards receiving or something like that, don't he? It's like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
does he really? Let me look at his numbers real quick.
His first
Yeah,
two games were ridiculous.
he's went off, bro. He's got so many touchdowns too. Boys went off this year.
That's the
He's
fucking-
crazy good.
I think he's had a better year with Cup than he's ever had, like just in a single season, than with
Yeah.
Megatron, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Which is wild.
Right?
yeah.
Let's see here.
That was a good one. Jonathan House was a great one though, because I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I had Jonathan
They're
House in
not-
my head.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm tired of seeing Brady get it. I'm tired of seeing Aaron Rodgers get it. These dudes have balled out this year alone, just them two. So let those two fight it out, man. Seriously, they deserve it.
Yeah. And you listen, and I guarantee you, it's no disrespect to Brady. I think we all think what he's doing is great. At his age, there's only a certain few, but there's no one that's ever been able to do it at his level for that long. So yeah,
It's expected by this point. You know what I mean?
And especially right now, let's be honest. Brady has a nice team set up behind him. This isn't Brady of the Patriots. Again, they're going crazy because they just lost their linebacker. Because they need every single piece they can have. Brady isn't the guy that's moving this team along. They need everybody they can possibly have to get this back to where they were last year, which is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Did you
See here. 1 second. Pull this up. Yeah, Cooper Kupp has crazy stats. Through 15 games, he's got 132 receptions for 1,734 yards, averaging 13.1, 14 touchdowns. And he's
Mhm.
paying off big time in fantasy.
Oh, heck yeah.
259 fantasy points this
I
year.
think Cooper Kupp could have stopped playing by like week 11, and he still would have been the number one guy.
Bro, hands down, Cooper Kupp has demolished every receiver this year. Hands down.
But the good thing about it is
That's
Cooper Kupp messed up this whole fantasy. He messed up this entire fantasy league for everyone because of how ridiculous points he had and how the drop off and him coming back. Because if you look at it now, a lot of those guys who came off first place, a lot of it's like more the middle teams are the guys who come in the championship games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No lie though, other than those two men right there and other quarterbacks, that's who deserve it, in my opinion. I mean, you can't really sit there and show me anybody else who does. You know, it's either Taylor, Kupp, or a quarterback. But let's not make it a quarterback. These two have done stuff.
Well, I got one quarterback, and I think he does deserve it because of what's going on with that team. I'm gonna give it up to Josh Allen. Again, I love his progression year in and year out, and this year especially. He is the sole focal point of that offense. I know they got Stephon Diggs. You know, they have the receivers, but they have no running game. Josh Allen is the running game. Right. Josh Allen gets them through a lot of games. So if you're going to look at a quarterback, if we are looking at a quarterback, I understand. I think Josh Allen is that guy.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. If you're gonna, I mean, like AK said earlier, tired of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers always winning it. Give it to somebody else.
Guys,
it'd be awesome. I mean, not to be biased at all, but it would be completely awesome for the NFL to just pull one out of left field and give it to Jason Kelce.
Well, I have one more. I have one more pick in my pocket, and it's a point of contention what I have because again everybody's talking about Micah Parsons. Everyone has his name out there, but I told you there's a guy in Cincinnati that has been playing better, and that Cincinnati defense has been a whole lot better because of him. If I'm not mistaken, his name is Troy Henderson. Troy Henderson has been having a spectacular season, second year in the league. Again, that Cincinnati defense runs because as he goes. Michael Parsons gets a lot of credit, and I get it. He moves around. That's a lot of the reason why he gets to where he does. Because they move around so damn much, you don't know who's going to get him. You gotta tackle one time, you gotta guard the next. Maybe you got a tight end. Michael Parsons getting moved all around, so you gotta expect it. He's great at what he does. And I'm not trying to discredit anything. But to say he's the MVP, fall back on that one. I'd give it to Troy Henderson or Josh Allen. Those are my two picks. And he's not a quarterback. Defensive lineman. That's out the box.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way that Jonathan Taylor has, really carried the Colts this year, I think he's going to be the favorite to win it right now. I really do because, they're really because they tend to give it to quarterbacks, right? There really isn't. I mean, Josh Allen's having a good year, but he's had a few hiccups along the way. I mean, they did lose to Jacksonville. He's had a couple of bad games this year, so I don't know. They may definitely frown upon that, making the decision. But if it's going to go to a non-quarterback, I think Jonathan Taylor deserves it myself.
Well, like we said, it's very hard for a non-quarterback to get the MVP. So again, these next two games for Jonathan Allen, he's going to have to hit it out the park. Because if we see Josh Allen, he blows up, or their quarterback favorite, and we all know their darling, the apple of their eye will always be Tom Brady. So you gotta catch the vote getters' attention.
True. Yes, I mean there's not, like Patrick Mahomes. He's been playing better at times this year, and there's times where he's looked a lot more human. That's for sure. So, he's definitely not getting it. The NFL is gonna, they have a somewhat of a tough decision to make, I think, but it'll be interesting to see which way they go.
Patrick Mahomes has how many interceptions this year?
Isn't it like
I don't
14?
I don't have his stats up in front of
I
me.
thought
Yeah,
it was high. I thought it was like a ridiculous rate. I thought it was like up in the 20s or something like that.
let me see here. Let me pull up the stats real quick.
It's got a lot more than Hurts. I know that.
All
Yeah, you
right,
heard
Patrick
that?
Mahomes. He's got 33 touchdowns and 13 picks.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, see, I wasn't wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
me thinking 17 for a second. Shame on you.
What about fumbles?
I don't think that's what I'm looking at. Fumbles aren't listed on here. I'm looking at, of course, it's I don't know how many. I don't remember him fumbling too much this year, so I don't think it's probably too many.
Yeah, no, it's been a ridiculous year, man. No lie. There's no real team that's really, shown
away.
that they can be beaten. Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does anyone think that's because of the extra game? Like it levels everything out. I know one game, but when you think about it, that's more time out there.
I think it.
Like I said, this
has-
whole season, everything's been off balance. Either you're really good or you're just run of the mill.
I think it has, something. There's different factors in there. An extra game definitely could be a part of it. COVID's definitely a part of it. That's running rampant now. That the cold months are setting in. The winter's setting in the northern hemisphere, so everybody's, getting in confined spaces and trying to stay distant. But some of these teams are doing Zoom practices and things like that now. So it's just it's crazy. It's been a crazy year so far. And speaking of COVID, we're definitely going to transition into that conversation now because the NFL did make an amendment to the rule today. Vic 3, what do you think about this this new COVID protocol rule situation we got going on in the NFL?
If I'm not mistaken, it's if any vaccinated player is tested, they only have 5 days quarantine, or if they tested positive, they have 5 days quarantine. If they test negative after that, they can return. I think that's the policy, correct? And then it goes to fear.
The new policy is whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can come off of the COVID list in 5 days. You have to be either one or two things. You have to be asymptomatic, or your symptoms have to be lessening. That's what I heard on ESPN them say that several times. But I don't know how in the world NFL teams, doctors, whoever are going to try to decipher what symptoms are lessening and what symptoms aren't,
Well, let's get this straight. We all know that there's players right now that played with COVID. Because you can't tell me that on Sunday you're playing and on Monday you tested with COVID. You don't get it overnight. So I'm sorry to tell you. There's already been players that didn't play with COVID. The NFL can shove it. They don't give a damn about player safety. They only put the illusion that they do. The CDC, same thing. Whatever they said, it's stupid because if you think about it, if you have someone who is positive or does have COVID, only after 5 days they still have that. They might not feel symptoms, but doesn't mean that they can't carry it on to someone else. So all you're going to do is spread COVID faster. I think the NFL doesn't give a damn now. These rules are in place now because we're at the end of the year. Super Bowl's almost up. But I hope they don't hedge their bets because let's figure out a scenario where now we have the Super Bowl team. You got the bye week. The week of the Super Bowl, it's Radio Row. How many people can come up positive? Now we have the case of how many players can't play in the Super Bowl. Now we're going to delay the Super Bowl. That's an unprecedented event. That could be possible because of this ruling. I don't think the NFL really thought that far or they care to think that far because they're just like, hey, guys have been, for the most part they know, and I feel it too, guys have been playing with COVID no matter what. So even if they're tested after this season, who gives a damn? It's the offseason. We don't care. The Pro Bowls went off without a hitch. We got our money. We'll talk about that next year. You got what, 7 months to worry about it? As long as they get the Super Bowl off, that's all they care about right now. Those protocols, I feel it's crazy. Like I said, you're going to end up spreading it to more people. And even though that person might not have the symptom, like I said, you're going to spread it to someone else who can possibly go home, have a young child, an elderly parent, whatever the case may be, spread it on to them. You're not thinking about that. That thought process hasn't gone that far. To me, it's wild. It's wild. But, we're in a world now where nothing that, the general public really think matters. It's only the way business moves. Business runs this country. It isn't the government that runs this country anymore. Business runs this country. That's how it works. Sad to say, but it's true.
Yeah. Richie said it too. He's NFL business over health always had been. COVID just the new flavor, steroids, spousal abuse, painkiller addiction, CTE. Yeah, you're right, Richie.
Since the 80s, and it's a movie called Wall Street, since Michael Douglas uttered the word, greed is good, America, across the world, they took that literally. And they haven't stopped since.
Yeah, they really haven't. NFL cares about their revenue on views and ratings. Yep.
Look at the world now. If you're going to buy a PlayStation, how do you buy a PlayStation? You can't walk to Walmart. You can't walk to any game store. You got to order it online off of someone else who already bought it off the bot and who's going to charge you more. Again, greed is good, and greed will continue.
Yeah. I mean, there's players that are, there's teams that are definitely benefiting from this new rule change. Carson Wentz is one that sticks out to me right now because he is a known unvaccinated player who now can return possibly for this weekend. He he would have, with the old rule, he would have definitely been out for Sunday, but now the Colts are going to, have their starting quarterback under center, and that they're definitely going to benefit from the rule change. And they're in a playoff push. They are, so it's crucial for them.
I find that kind of iffy how that all played out now that the ruling comes out. Because it's like if they would have known ahead of time, they announced it yesterday. So 5 days from yesterday would be Saturday. Carson comes up with a negative test. He's ready for the game on Sunday. And they have it on tonight. If anyone's watching, shout out, no free shout outs. On HBO, Hard Knocks. They're going with the Colts. They're going to show when, Coach Wright found out about Quentin Nelson. It's all going to be there taped, and you can see it in his reaction that he really wishes the cameras weren't there. But again, these coaches know probably ahead of time, and it kind of seems a little dramatic how he gets the call. He even says it could be COVID, and it turns out to be Quentin Nelson has been tested positive for COVID. Same thing that happens with Carson. Sometimes they know a little ahead of time, but again, these owners know these rulings before they're made out to public. Mm-hmm. So you can't tell me that when the Carson Wentz news came out, it so happened to coincide the next day that we're going to rule saying you have 5 days or whatever the case is with the new COVID protocol. It just fits perfectly.
Yeah, and it's funny because the CDC just basically made the same switch of protocol. So I think the NFL, they're probably they're all connected. It's all big money. So one follows suit of the other, and it's not surprising that as soon as the CDC lightened the protocol, the NFL followed suit because it's only good for business. It's only good for business.
The thing is, people don't know, this goes beyond just football. This actually hits home because now your employer is going to make you, whatever you feel, whatever side you are, unvaxxed or not, it doesn't matter to me. You do whatever you feel best is for you. But now employers are going to force things like this upon you. And this is only the first of many that's going to happen. So instead of the government forcing you to do things, now it's going to be your boss doing it. See, they get around it. Instead of the government stepping into your personal life, they're going to take it to the businesses, the employer. Now employers are going to force you to do things for the government. That's the way it's going to work out from now on. A lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that.
Mm-hmm. AK, let's hear from you, my guy.
Yeah, man, listen, I feel the same way he is. I just don't get that emotional about it because I realized it a long time ago. They are a business. In my eyes, the NFL is kind of like a mafia. No lie. It's all about money and it's all about revenue for them. If it does not benefit them in any way, they do not do it. they bleed these guys dry of their money out of them, and then they send them packing. And in the end, they take all the credit, they take all the revenue, they take everything. It does not surprise me because, when you sit there and you think about it, no one's going to want to go to games when their star players aren't playing because of COVID. Especially like whenever it's teams that are struggling to make the playoffs and 8 of their starters are knocked out because of COVID, and now all their chances are doomed. So they make the protocol 5 days. That way, at least it gives people chances. That way, money doesn't get hurt. That way, it's like you said, they don't give a shit about the players, man. They just care about the money.
Oh yeah, I was.
We've seen what happened with Ray Rice. They saw the tape, they saw what happened, and it was only after public outcry they went to action. That's every business such as NFL. But until people complain about it, then they'll change just to save face. But it doesn't necessarily mean they believe in those things.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The Eagles. Speaking of COVID, the Eagles did get some players back today. Trying to find that article real quick. I know Ryan Kerrigan was one of them. You guys know who else was on that list? I can't find it.
Raven Clark was one. I believe Barnett, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. I might be incorrect on that one, but I believe he has a possibility of coming back with the new protocol anyway. He was announced on Monday.
Right.
Yeah, so he has a chance of coming back no matter what. I can't remember one, but I remember Raven Clark stands out.
Got you. Let's see here. Yeah, you're right. I think let's see here. Ryan Kerrigan. So we're getting 2 defensive ends back. Kerrigan, Teron Jackson. I'm seeing those 2, and then 2 tackles: Andre Dillard and LaRaven Clark. So those 4.
Hey guys, I gotta get going, man. My son's tripping out.
Okay. I hope you guys feel better, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, brother.
Much blessings to you. Yes.
Feel better, my guy. Have a good one.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah, you guys make sure that, like I said earlier, we're live on all 3 of our channels, so make sure you hit that thumbs up on all 3. Make sure you're liked and subscribed to all 3 channels. Turn on the notification button because you're never going to want to miss any of our content. It's always Fuego, always. And the NFL, they're always going to do what's best for their pocketbooks. We all know that player safety is definitely not at the top of their list of worries. That's for sure.
Well, the thing is, too, is a lot of fans don't care either because, let's be honest, we just want football. For a lot of people, that's all they care about. They don't really care about their safety. Like, they don't know them personally. They don't have to take care of them after the fact. They don't have to do anything. They just want football. So a lot of fans themselves are selfish, and that's why things like this happen.
Yeah. What's going on, Giuseppe?
Sometimes as fans, if we demand it, like I said, if you demand something, and again, that's all whatever how you feel. But if you don't think it's right that players are in this position, hey, just say something to the players. But also, you got to look at them too. They're not complaining either. That's another thing we got to look at. The players aren't complaining because let's be honest, they're making money as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. If they that as much as some of them would have said, or they were saying that the football team should have forfeited, the game shouldn't have been delayed. If they don't play, they don't get paid. So it's definitely they're not out there risking their lives and their body and their livelihood, all that for no reason. They want their scratch. It's a big part of becoming a professional is getting paid at that high level. Making the big dollars, being able to live very, very comfortably. Not only you, but a lot of these, like Devontae Smith, for example, went and bought his mama. Didn't he buy her a house?
Yeah.
After he got drafted. So, you're able to do stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
But a lot of things you're like, and I don't want to make it seem like, players are greedy because it's not that too. You got to think these are competitive people. All their life they've been competing. Even off the field, like they're still like a lot of you hear a lot of players they're gamblers. It's not for the fact that they're degenerates. It's just the fact that they like competition. They're constantly
Right.
trying to compete. They're constantly trying to prove themselves. They're trying to be the best. So for a lot of them, that's why they do the things that they do. They don't care if they're sick. They don't care if they're injured. They're trying to play because they're trying to be the best. They want to be the best.
Yeah. Yeah, they really do. Yeah. So, last night we touched on it a little bit, but it was before you got there. So I wanted to ask you real quick before we transition into some Eagles talk before we wrap it up. Who do you got as your coach of the year candidate right now?
Coach of the year is tough because, like we said, there's been a lot of teams with ups and downs. I
Right.
mean, you can't pit, and that's the one thing I want to say. This is one of the best things about this year. This is the first season in a long time. There isn't a clear cut thought of who's going to win the Super Bowl. Coming into this season, everyone thought Tampa, they were a lock. But again, now as the season's played out, you don't know who's going. Vegas, I know, loves this because there's no clear cut, team out there. I don't know
Right.
who got, we thought the Rams at one time, but we've seen the Rams falter many times. We thought the
Mhm.
Titans, we've seen them lose King Henry.
Right.
We saw
Maybe
people thought the
Arizona.
Cowboys.
Arizona.
Another team. Yeah. You think about Arizona, you look at the Chargers. There's a
Right.
lot of teams that, they had that hype, they ran that wave. And Arizona's probably one of the biggest ones. We had a session where we talked about it. Who would be that team going into playoff that would falter? My team was Arizona. I say my team was New England. AK chose Arizona. We've seen those teams already. They've already stumbled before the playoffs even started. We don't know how far they're going to get. There is so much uncertainty going into this playoff. It's great. This is the first time, like I said, there's no clear cut. It's not easy. Every team, any given Sunday can win these games. Like you said, Jacksonville took down Buffalo. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen all the
Right.
time. And we've seen time and time again. Look at the Oakland Raiders. At one point, they're very hot. They had their issues with their wide receiver. They dropped off. But then they're coming back and then they drop off again.
Mhm.
Derek Carr, does he get a vote for MVP because of so much that happened this season? Where his team's at, all because of him? Do you look at
Yeah.
a guy like that? Like
Yeah.
even
mean-
the thought of the MVP, it's so hard to think of.
Right. Who do you think should get it right now? If you were given the honor of awarding this, Coach of the Year award this year, who would you give it to right now?
Right now, I'm gonna have to say, for me at least, I'll pick two, AFC, NFC, and whoever does it gets it. Sean McDermott, I like what he did at Buffalo. I like what they're doing. That defense has been spectacular. You know what I mean? Like it's performed at a high level. And let's be honest, they don't have much. A defensive line is
Right.
great, but they don't have any, household names. Buffalo's defense is a team you can just rattle off the front line or their linebackers. You probably name one or two guys. You can't really get into it. Then you look at that offense again, like I said before, Josh Allen. You got Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders. They're out there
Mhm.
doing their thing. Gabriel
Yeah,
Davis,
if they get a run game going, that offense is going to be scary good.
Zach Moss. You had Matt Brea, and you had Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
Three running backs that, let's be honest. Yeah, let's be honest. On any other team, there'd probably be a third back.
Right.
It is what it is. But they've made
Mhm.
do. And like I said, they're still in this playoff race. I believe they have first in the AFC East, correct? They're first. They took it away from
Yeah.
New England.
They did this past weekend. Yep.
So you got to give credit where credit's due. That team has been sturdy. They falter a little bit, but they haven't been down, not at all. So I give it to Sean McDermott. And I don't want to sound like a homer, but again, when you look at week 1 to now, you got to give Coach Sirianni some credit. He's got this team where it needs to be. Everyone could talk about the Rochambeau and the watering flowers and him being nervous on his first press conference. The guy got his stuff together. The guy got this offense together. And there's times where we look and we get frustrated. When they start that first half, listen, they need to come out there more, get out there, start the game right. But at the end of the day, they're winning games. They won, what was it, 6 straight, if I'm not mistaken?
Us?
Yeah, I forgot I'm 6 straight. Excuse me. I was thinking something else. It was seven, I was thinking Miami Dolphins.
Won 5 of the last 6.
5 of the last 6. That's what it was. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because
He
we started off
hasn't really.
2-5. So yeah, that's a pretty good damn turnaround. And that's that's going to lead me into my AFC pick. And this one might surprise you because it's a coach from the the sunny state of Florida. But it's obviously not Urban Meyer, 'cause
Yeah,
that's the only other AFC team.
I think I know where
Ryan
you're going.
Flores, the first ever NFL coach to have a 7-game losing streak and then turn it around and have a 7-game winning streak. And he's doing so with a quarterback who is definitely limited with his, with his range and motion, range and passing it down the field, things like that. So Brian Flores is that's my sleeper pick for for the coach of the year in the AFC. And if I had to pick one from the NFC, I would say right now, obviously the homer in me would want Sirianni to get it. Like you said, we started 2-5. We're now 8-7. He's definitely doing something right, and he's had some injuries along the way and COVID, things like that. He even caught it himself. Thank God he didn't miss a game and he didn't get too sick or anything like that. But I think it's gonna go. I think it would probably be LaFleur out of the NFC. I really do.
See, I don't like that. And I understand. I totally get that that would be the pick, but I don't like that because let's be honest. And he's a great offensive mind, but Aaron Rodgers runs that team. LaFleur,
True.
like Cliff Kingsbury, falter at the end. Cliff Kingsbury was another guy, they were talking about, but again, the stats just came out. The last 7 games of the season, Kingsbury has always had a bad record. That's going back to Texas.
Yeah.
You look at who else is in the NFC. We're talking about Bruce Arians, a Tampa Bay team, great team. But when you look at it, he manages the coaches.
Tom
The
Brady.
coaches do their own thing. Byron Leftwich runs the offense. You got Todd Bowles running the defense. That
Right.
can't be denied. Bruce isn't even there, and it's a loss.
And you got
but it really
that's a lot of people like to call him the GOAT as your quarterback too. So I mean, it's like
there's
what
one
else
guy
can-
too. There's one man that deserves it, and a lot of people will hate me saying this, but you got to give up to Bill Belichick. With that
Oh.
team, with that rookie, I know people don't like it, but you do have to give the man credit. They were first in the AFC.
I thought you were gonna say. The Dallas Cowboys head coach. That's what
Hell
I thought you were
no.
gonna say.
Mike McCarthy and his triple chins. Hell no. Listen, again, he's not a coach you can give credit to because again, Kellen Moore runs the offense. Mike McCarthy really doesn't. Even when you look at him, he coaches, but correct. And Dan Quinn is getting a lot of credit, which he deserves. And hopefully he gets a head coaching job. I know he already turned down the Jacksonville opportunity, which he should. Be choosy with your next decision, sir. Don't just go to the first opportunity, especially if it's Jacksonville. I applaud him for that. Again, he had a tough time in Atlanta, but he got that team to a Super Bowl. Give that guy his respect. Now, there's other coaches in the NFC too, but like I said, it's been so up and down. Who's really stood out? What team has really stood out this season?
Right. There's not one.
You can't even say there's a runaway coach either. Again, you had to look like you did. Brian Flores, the first coach ever to have go for 1-7 and then win 7 straight games. That's a great achievement. He's getting his team. Imagine if they go in the playoffs and they make some noise in the playoffs. With Tua, that's a great accomplishment. And like I said on my end, imagine if Nick Sirianni and the Eagles, they win these next 2 games and they go in the playoffs and they make some noise. I don't know if you heard today on Pat McAfee, Peter Schrager was on. AJ Hawks asked him, who does he think would make some noise in the playoffs? Schrager picked the Eagles. He loves the way the Eagles run the ball. He loves how Darius Slay's been playing. He loves how that defense been getting it together lately. Nationally, the Eagles are starting to get some attention.
Yeah, because our run defense is shoring up a lot better recently too, and that's going to benefit us going down the stretch because when the weather gets bad, we play outside. Teams are going to have to run the ball more, and if our run defense is able to, hold up, then we're going to be, a force to reckon with. I think so.
Definitely. I agree. I hope Jonathan Gannon gets that defense ready. I hope Sirianni gets that team, out the gates. We need to score. We need to score often. That defense, it's been great the past 2 weeks, but we've seen it falter. We can't take any step back, especially in these last 2 games, especially in our last game against Dallas. We can't go with that hope of even if we lose 1 game, we can still get in. No, I feel that the
Right.
mindset has to be we need to win these next 2 games in order to get in the dance. And we already know what happens once you get in the dance. It's win or go home. That's it.
Yep. Did you know that there's 4 different scenarios this weekend that can get us into the playoffs? Do you know that?
BLSG had gave me, I think it was like 2 or 3 yesterday.
There's
It was
4.
with Arizona losing.
Yeah.
Who was the other one?
I'm going to read them to you right now. So if we win plus a Minnesota loss or tie plus a New Orleans loss or tie. The second one is we win plus a Minnesota loss or tie plus a San Francisco win or tie. The third one is we win, Minnesota loses, New Orleans loses, and Atlanta loses or ties. And the fourth one is, I'm sorry. No, the third one is we tie, Minnesota loses, New Orleans loses, and Atlanta loses or ties. The fourth one is we tie, Minnesota loses, New Orleans ties, and Atlanta loses or ties, plus San Francisco win or ties. That last one is really complicated.
Listen, if I'm a player, all I know is I got to win the next 2 games. If someone would
Right?
explain all that to
Control
me,
their own
I'm just
destiny.
like, win the next 2
Yeah,
games. That's all I
exactly.
need to hear. Because
Exactly.
like I said, all that are possibilities. You don't go off possibilities. The only definite is, if you win the next 2 games, you're in. Go off of
Right.
that.
Exactly. Now, so let's transition into some Eagles talk before we wrap this thing up here. We talked about it a little bit on the text earlier, but I want to hear from you and how you feel we're going to deal with the loss of Miles Sanders, but the news from how it stands right now is he has not been placed on injured reserve, because if they do that again, he's done for the year. And I think that's why they didn't do it, because they're holding out hope that maybe he can come back, if not by the end of the season, maybe for a wild card playoff game.
Listen, T.O. came back after 3 weeks with a broken leg. You ain't going to tell me Miles can't take 2 off just to come back during the playoffs.
Right?
I think that was the reason. It could be a broken, but a fracture can be considered a break. So we don't know the full extent. I know we've seen Sanders. He posted something on Instagram and Twitter, but we didn't see any X-rays. That hasn't been divulged. The extent of the actual injury hasn't been said, other than the fact that it's a break. So hopefully, it's something that it is a break. It could be a hairline fracture, something that might take a couple of weeks to heal. And he might have to wear. I think it's on his right hand, correct? Or is it his left?
Yes.
I thought it was his
No, it's
right.
his right hand.
Yeah.
And I
So
believe
that's going to be difficult with
he's
him holding the
right-handed.
ball.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult with him holding the ball. So again, if they feel strong enough not to put him on the IR or not say that he's done for the year, then we got to be, thinking on the side of, it's not that bad. He'll be back after a couple of weeks. Yeah, it might be a little tender, but he can still play with it. And I assume that, if we were to, whatever happens in the next 2 games, if we do make it into the playoffs, I don't think they're going to rush him back and he's going to be the starter and, doing the workload. They're going to bring him back slowly.
Yeah, I think so too, because as we've seen, he's already been having an issue of holding on to the football. And we're not the only ones. We're not geniuses. We're not the only ones with super spy glasses, or we're not the only ones that see that, is what I'm trying to say. Other teams, the NFL defenses, they're going to be going after him, if he comes back. They're going to be going after him and that hand. They're going to be punching at it. They're going to be swiping at it. They're going to be doing everything they can to get that ball on the ground. And that's going to be a concern for me, because ball security has not been his strong suit. That's for sure.
Oh, best believe, every team that goes up with them, I don't know if people know, but they get a little report on each player. So that's how they learn their tendencies when they watch tape. But they actually get a report. And that report will say Miles is prone to fumbling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, teams know this. It isn't a secret. Yeah. It's well known. So yeah, especially with his injury being to the right arm, obviously the right hand. Yeah, when he comes back, they're going to be swatting at him. So he's going to have to be right physically to come back. And like I said, the reason why if they're not putting him on IR is because they're going to want him using in the playoffs if we get in there, and they know that he'll be healthy enough to handle it.
Do you think Jordan Howard plays this weekend, or do you think they rest him?
I hope it's a stinger in the neck, from what I heard. You figure what Wednesday? We still got 5 days to Sunday. I'm pretty sure he should be all right. You know, like if you played football or if you wrestled,
Yeah, because they
you've
said
had
the
a
MRI
stinger.
was. They said the MRI looked good, right? Like he didn't have
Yeah.
any damage in his shoulder or anything like that. So yeah, stingers usually. I mean, there's obviously different grades of stingers. He had one that was really bad a year or two ago, I think, and it lingered, for
Mhm.
multiple weeks. So, there's definitely different grades of them. I've had them before, in my playing career in high school, things like that. So, yeah, they definitely hurt, but they tend to heal pretty quickly. He's still a fairly young guy, so I think there's an above average chance of him playing this weekend, and even if it's at on a limited snap basis, we're still going to get some production out of him. I think.
And you think too, we still have Boston Scott. You know,
Yep.
you still got him. And you know they're
Gainwell.
going to bring in Gainwell. Gainwell's going to play
Mhm.
well. Maybe Huntley. I know we signed on Johnson, but I don't think that
Right.
we're going to use him that much or at all this week. You know, he's going to have to get acclimated. I know he knows the playbook, but again, he hasn't been playing since the preseason.
Right.
We're
What
going
kind
to
of
have
game
to get
shape
him
is he in
football shape.
exactly? Yeah.
We're
Has he
going to
been
have to
sitting
get
on
him
the couch
football
eating
shape.
nachos, or has he been in the gym, grinding it out, keeping his body in tip top shape? We don't know. Only the
Hey,
only him,
we've seen some
training
players
staff,
come
coach,
in. We see some players coming off the street. Adrian Peterson, you know, as old as
right?
he is, he came in for Tennessee, gave him a good game. But I don't know if if Ken Johnson is AP status right now. I don't think he's at
Right.
that level.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I mean, hey, and even if we need to, we talked about it a little bit last night. I think it was before you got on. If we even need to start using, and I don't care if we steal some plays right out of San Francisco's playbook, but start using Rieger like a Debo Samuel and let him. What's his big issue, right? Is dropping the passes. Eliminate that. Just hand him the damn football and let him use that speed. Let him go. What do you think about
Not
that?
only not only Jalen Rieger, you got to think about Quez Watkins. Give him some
Yeah,
screens. My guy can tear it up too. Again, you know,
yeah,
you're gonna have if you don't have Jordan Howard and you know we already know we don't have Sanders. Yeah, Tyrion is gonna
right,
switch it up. Again, a lot of times we already know the screen can be used as the run game too. A lot of offenses do that. A lot of coaches even swear by that. So yeah, you can get creative and do some things. That's up to the coaches. They have 5 days to figure it all out. Hopefully we have Howard because you know we need that big physical bruiser. We need to get that defensive line tired early and often. But
right.
if we don't, yeah, Sirianni's going to have to get creative.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely will. And if that's using, if obviously Gainwell hasn't been super effective between the tackles this year, so if that's you know um supplementing the run game with some more screen passes to Gainwell out of the backfield, then so be it. Use the West Coast offense like it's made to be used. Definitely. So I think we're going to be okay. I'm not too concerned about it. I was glad to see we got some defensive ends off of the COVID list because we were getting pretty thin at the defensive end spot. But hey, that just means more playing time for Milton Williams. So hey, I'm good with that.
Hey, Darren Jackson, that can't be taken lightly. He's a good player. I seen him out there with the double washing machine move. You saw that when he
Oh
was up
yeah,
against the Giants. He was looking
yep,
good out there again. These young guys, they haven't had much time to prove themselves. Later in the season, we see COVID's coming into effect. They're gonna have to step it up. All right, we understand you're a rookie, but guess what? You've been in the NFL long enough now. We're going to need you to
right,
step it up. We're going to need to see what we have in you. So, look to see for those two players, especially, come up.
yeah. All right. Well, we've been on for about an hour and 10 minutes now, so I think we're gonna wrap it up. Victory, you got any closing comments? If not, just let all the good people out there know where they can find you at.
Yeah, man. You can check me out with my guy Jerry Lee tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We'll be joined by the great George Camry, former Sports Illustrated writer. We're going to talk about the Redskins on our show, The Big Ticket. Again, it's a show that we look at the opponent's perspective. We want to see what they think about our team and how they think about their team going into the game. Join us at 7
Nice.
o'clock on my channel. Again, me and Jerry Lee, The Big Ticket. But as always, man, y'all know who it is. It's Vic3. You see me in the chats. You see me on Twitter. You will always find me with my guys supporting great Eagles content. Listen, AK ain't here right now. go on his channel, throw a like, come back, hit Foothills, come back, hit me up, throw a like, subscribe if you could, please. And as always, I appreciate you all for tuning in, for watching us. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. And if I don't see y'all until then, Happy New Year.
Yes, absolutely. You guys be safe out there for the holiday. Have fun, but also, be safe, be aware of your surroundings, things like that. Stay socially distant as much as possible so you can stay happy and start 2022 off on a very, very healthy, first endeavors. You guys are gonna have. We're all gonna tackle this next year together and really enjoy it. So, yes, like my guy said, we can't thank you all enough. You guys are the absolute food in the water to the channel, like I always say. Without you all, it does not continue to survive. So if you're feeling the vibe, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe to not only the Nest Out West, but also Vic3, aka Eagles of Eagles Uncensored podcast as well. We're live on all 3 channels. Hit that thumbs up on all 3. We really, really appreciate it. It helps push that content out there more and more, and it helps us build and grow. So, yes, we're going to be fine this weekend. I think we're good. Not too worried about it. I'm very, very happy right now with the way things are panning out for this season. So,
Definitely.
guys,
Let me just say this one thing. If you're going out or whatever it is, you're partying, listen, man, if you're drinking out there, please do it responsibly. If you're feeling like you're trying to go home and you're trying to drive, don't. Uber ain't that much. Lyft ain't that much. Calling up a friend, whoever's with you, if they're not drunk, it ain't that bad to do it. Leave your car wherever it is at. Walk if you need to. Get a ticket for DWI. It's better than, having an accident or hurting someone.
Exactly.
So, you know what I'm saying? You can go out there, do your thing, be responsible about it.
Yeah. Because, yes, it's your life. You can do whatever you want to do, but just try to remember that there's certain decisions along the way that can alter other people's lives as well. So, yeah, like my guy said, just be responsible. Have fun. Have a happy new year. And Gio from the 215, you got it, my guy. Let's do it. So until next time, we fly until we die. Stay mean, stay green. Thanks for viewing us on your screen. But most importantly, like I always say, keep it fuego.
Hey man, fly, let's fly.
Hell yeah. Big ups to Key in the building for the outro intro.
Yes. Not only here, Mike, for the post game, for the big ticket, East meets West, for everyone she contributes to. Key in the building is a vital piece to everyone's podcast. Thank you so much, Key.
Absolutely. And without further ado, let's fire it up.
We out.
Avila. Beats.
Mccarthy.